My younger brother, Leo, and I were inseparable. We were two peas in a pod, building pillow forts and sharing our deepest secrets long after the lights were out. He was my shadow, and I, his eternal protector. I always stood up for him, helped him with his homework, and always had his back. Even as adults, with me, an artist, living in a vibrant, artsy city, and him, a pragmatic financier, in a corporate metropolis, I believed our bond was unbreakable. The first crack appeared when Leo met Olivia. She wasn't just a partner, she was a strategic asset, a power player in her own right. The daughter of a nationally recognized business tycoon, she held a flawless degree from a prestigious university, and had a gaze that could dissect a person's worth with a single, icy glance. Around Olivia and her influential family, Leo changed. His easy laugh became muted, his movements more deliberate, and his eyes held a desperate yearning to belong. Our phone calls grew less frequent. He started to call my paintings a frivolous pursuit, and viewed my bohemian lifestyle, my musician friends and my paint-splattered loft, with quiet disapproval. My parents, who had once celebrated my independence, now constantly talked about stability, and what a brilliant match Leo had made. I felt myself being edged out of the family, an inconvenient detail marring their new portrait of success. But I wasn't ready for the final blow. I stumbled upon the wedding announcement on social media. A professionally shot photo showed Leo and Olivia against a city backdrop. The caption read, "The countdown begins. We can't wait to celebrate our special day with our closest loved ones." I felt my heart drop into my stomach. Closest loved ones. I waited, but the invitation never came. No call, no text. The humiliation was a physical ache in my chest. Finally, I called my mother. The conversation was brutal. She stammered out a weak excuse about how it was a mutual decision. "Please understand, darling, Olivia's family is from a different world. They might not get your lifestyle. We don't want any awkward moments." Leo was very firm that everything had to be perfect. "It's for his own good." His good. My voice trembled with a mix of rage and tears. What about me? I'm his sister. Am I not one of the closest? "Jenny, don't make this difficult," my father interjected. "It's just one day. A formality. We love you. But your brother's future is at stake. Don't be selfish." Selfish. The word stung. I, who had given him my last savings for his first business. I, who had sat by his hospital bed after an accident. I had always believed in him when no one else did. Now I had been crossed off, erased so as not to spoil the perfect picture of his new, glossy life. I sat in my studio, the afternoon sun highlighting an unfinished canvas filled with furious brushstrokes. My paint-stained hands felt foreign. They were ashamed of my life. The pain I had been nursing for months gave way to a cold, sharp clarity. This wasn't just hurt. This was an ultimate betrayal from the people who were supposed to be my sanctuary. In that moment, I swore I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't let them erase me. If they wanted to avoid an awkward situation, I'd give them a show they'd never forget. Not for revenge, but to reveal the truth they were so desperate to hide. I spent the next 2 months on The Reckoning. I sold several large canvases and invested every last penny. First, I underwent a transformation. No more paint-splattered clothes. I hired a stylist and curated a wardrobe worthy of a queen, with elegant dresses, high heels, and flawless hair and makeup. I lost weight, my features sharpened, and the woman in the mirror was a beautiful, but predatory, stranger. Next, I dug into Leo's past. I had always accepted our parents' story of a lucky loan that funded his startup. But I remembered our grandmother's will, which had split her substantial inheritance between us. Leo had handled the paperwork, claiming his risky investment had failed. Now, I got a copy of the will from an old lawyer friend. An IT acquaintance, who I had painted a portrait for, helped me access archived bank transfers. The truth was simple and ugly. There was no failed venture. Leo had forged documents and transferred my entire inheritance into his account. That money, my money, was the foundation of his brilliant career. He hadn't just stolen my money, he had stolen my future, forcing me to scrape by while he reinvented himself as a self-made man. The final detail was the gift, a delicate platinum mistletoe brooch from the city's best jeweler. Hidden within its leaves were tiny, nearly invisible microphones and a camera. The wedding day was perfect, held at an exclusive country club with white tents, a string quartet, and waiters serving champagne. The guests were the who's who of the city's elite. I arrived in the middle of the reception, stepping out of a sleek black car. Dressed in a flowing emerald silk gown, I walked with a slow, regal grace that stopped all conversation. My parents' faces turned pale as they saw me. My father's eyes flashed with anger. Leo, holding a glass, froze, a look of pure horror on his face. Olivia assessed me with a cold, calculating stare. "Good evening," I said, my voice clear in the sudden silence. My smile didn't reach my eyes. "My apologies for being late. It seems my invitation got lost in the mail." My father stepped forward, his face red. "Jenny, what are you doing here? Leave at once." "Oh, Dad," I said, walking toward the newlyweds' table. I couldn't miss the most important day of my beloved little brother's life. I even prepared a toast. I took a champagne flute from a stunned waiter. The wedding planner tried to intervene, but I silenced him with a single glance. All eyes were on me. "To Leo and Olivia," I began, my gaze sweeping the crowd. "I look at you both, so successful and beautiful, and my heart is full. I remember Leo as a different person. A little boy who was scared of the dark and would run to my bed. A boy who swore he would build me the most beautiful house in the world because I was his best sister and his greatest protector." My voice wavered, but I held my composure. Leo was ashen. Olivia looked at him with growing suspicion. They say behind every successful man is a great woman. In my brother's case, that's true. But that woman isn't just his beautiful bride. At the very start of his journey, at the very foundation of his dizzying career, there was another woman. His sister. I let the words hang in the air. When our grandmother passed away, she left her estate to be split between us. I was a naive artist who knew nothing about finances, so I trusted my brother. He told me the money was gone. A bad investment. I believed him. For years, while I scraped by to buy paint and canvases, my brother was building his empire. With my money. A low murmur rippled through the hall. Olivia's father tensed up. "You're lying," Leo shouted, his voice cracking. "She's just jealous." "Jealous?" I let out a bitter laugh. "No, little brother. I pity you. I brought you a gift to clear up any doubts." I walked to the large screen, which had been displaying a slideshow of the happy couple. I connected my phone and the screen filled with documents. A copy of the will, bank statements showing the transfer of my inheritance into his account, and a forged power of attorney. It was all there, graphic and irrefutable. That's a fake," Leo stammered, looking for support, but only finding shocked stares. "Is it?" I raised an eyebrow. "Then perhaps this isn't." I played an audio file, a recent conversation I'd had with him, recorded by the brooch I'd discreetly activated. His voice, smug and cynical, boomed across the venue. "Yeah, I took the money. You would have just wasted it on your paints anyway. I put it to good use. Look at where I am, and look at where you are. It was the best investment in our family's future. You should be thanking me. And if you breathe a word of this, especially to Olivia's family, I will destroy you. You are nothing, and I am everything." The recording ended, followed by a deafening silence. Olivia turned slowly to her new husband. Her face was expressionless, but her eyes held an arctic coldness that made him flinch. Her father rose slowly. He didn't say a word, but the look he gave Leo promised total and unconditional ruin. The world Leo had bought with his betrayal was crumbling less than a day after it had been built. I set my glass down. My task was complete. I didn't scream, cry, or gloat. I just looked him in the eye, and he saw not hatred, but an endless, scorched wasteland where our bond had once been. "Enjoy the evening," I said quietly. I turned and walked slowly toward the exit, under the stunned gazes of the hundreds of guests. I didn't look back. Behind me, a world built on lies was collapsing. Ahead of me, in the light of the setting sun, my own life awaited. It was difficult and imperfect, but it was honest. For the first time in a very long time, I could breathe freely. I hadn't just exposed them. I had reclaimed myself. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left, and thank you for watching.